Dear friends, this is day 181 of the heroic resistance of Ukraine. My name is Natalia Pramek, and we keep the series of our briefings of Mediacentru Ukraine. Our guest today is Denis Bashlyk, Deputy Minister of Agrarian Policy and Food of Ukraine. The first question is about State Agrarian Register. It's a known fact that has already been launched. How does this platform work to support our farmers, and what are some of the advantages of this register? Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to greet everybody with the Day of State flag. This is the symbol of our victory, independence, and heroes. Agrarian producers are also the heroes, not only Ukrainian heroes, but worldwide heroes. Because regardless the direct shelling and attacks of our enemies, agrarian producers keep working, and we have already grown 18 million tons of new harvest, new crops. The role of the ministry, given the circumstances, was that we had to create as comfortable conditions as possible in order to help our agricultural producers, so that they have all the conditions to work and do their business. Therefore, we created State Agrarian Register, which helps create simple, non-bureaucratic procedures so that our agricultural producers can get not only governmental help and subsidies, but also international technical assistance or humanitarian relief. Because our ministry approached a lot of international partners, and we wanted to know whether there is any centralized platform to help our agrarian producers. Unfortunately, all our partners keep asking same question about this platform. Why they keep asking this question? Because this mechanism exists in all European countries for years, and this State Agrarian Register also helps us approach the European family. Speaking of advantages, our farmers can get assistance by clicking 3 buttons. The registration process takes no more than 3 minutes. All you need to know is electronic signature or digital signature. You get registered, and all the information about agricultural producers will be gathered automatically, and it will end up in this State Agrarian Register, from the land cadastre, from the property register, from the livestock register, etc. This also requires some specific software. But why is it convenient, and why has it to be done right now? The state support of agricultural producers has been ongoing for years, but this process has always been very bureaucratic, and it took time. You had to fill out tons of papers, tons of documents, and this amount of papers actually discouraged the agrarians to ask for assistance. But our farmers are not used to asking for assistance. If the procedure is very complex and time-consuming, of course it's discouraging. Secondly, the problem was that it was difficult to inform people about the existing governmental programs, and oftentimes there were situations that the farmers got to know about the program and the deadline has already expired. Today we will have centralized database that will be filled in not only with information from the government about the programs, but also international organizations. So all you need is just to apply online, and it will take no more than 5 minutes. The Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine already adopted the procedure of funds distribution, and soon they are going to announce 2 programs of small farmers support. Therefore, I recommend agricultural producers, those who own less than 120 hectares of land or less than 100 cows, they can get registered in this State Agrarian Register. The link is dark.org.ua. It's as simple as that, and you can participate in the programs that will be announced on the 1st of September. How many agrarian producers have already got registered in your system, and what are the leading regions? As of today, we have more than 3,000 agricultural producers who are registered in the system. The lead takes Lviv, Kyiv, Kirovograd, and Vinnytsia regions. Lviv definitely is leader in this platform, but we keep getting new people who get registered, and it'll help launch the first program. The more information we provide and the better communication, the more people we have willing to get registered, and this is good news. Therefore, we believe that after we launch the first program, we will have more people registered in the platform. On the downside, I'd like to say that there is some mistrust to the state funds and state registers. But DIA has already actually ruined all the myths, and it proved that digitalization makes people's life simpler and more comfortable. Our state register, this is equivalent of DIA but for agricultural producers. The tool has been created in order to create comfortable conditions for our agricultural producers. It was made by the Ministry of Agrarian Policy, who takes care of our farmers. Therefore, we created this platform to help them. The platform was created not for revenue control, tax control. It was created to support our farmers and to make this process as comfortable and easy as possible. Who was involved in creating this platform, and how was this service developed? To be honest, it's not Ukrainian know-how, I mean the platform itself. As I had already mentioned, EU countries, all of them have similar platforms. Therefore, we involved experts from EU, and they helped us develop this platform, and we adapted and developed the product that meets Ukrainian conditions and reality. We involved the experts from World Bank, because World Bank is going to be one of the financial institutions that will be involved in assisting to those who are registered in the State Agrarian Register. Now it's the best practice and the most popular practice. You are agricultural producer, you get registered in the registry, and you have your business activity history for years and months, and it's a great advantage, because our producers have an issue, for example, getting a loan from the bank, because the bank requires a lot of documents before they grant you the loan. But if this history is in State Agrarian Register, it will also simplify the loan process and the interaction with the bank process. And I believe that in the future, banks will also be included in this register, so that we can help agrarian producers communicate with the banks and expedite the process of granting the loans, because here you have all the picture of agrarian business activity, and the bank can take fast decision based on official and factual data. what are the additional functions and what are the conditions that agrarians who want to register need to know? My advice would be, once you get registered in the platform, check two sections. So this is the data from the single registry of taxpayers, and secondly, this is land plots. So this section has information about all land plots from the state land cadastre. This land is either owned or rented by agricultural producers. It's important to verify whether the land that either you rent or own is in this single registry. There might be a problem that you won't see all the information. Maybe the reason is that this land was registered in land cadastre and the asset register. In that case, you need to unify it. You need to register all your land so that it ends up in this State Agrarian Register. Same is true about the livestock. If there is something missing, you need to make sure you register all your cattle so that the government and financial corporation have a big and objective picture. It has been created in the best interest of our farmers because most best practices that were introduced by EU, so they are for farmer support, and the calculation is made by the head count of livestock or 1 hectare of land. So the more accurate information is in the register, the bigger support you will get in the future, the more interesting your profile will be for banks, for agrarian corporations, for international organizations who will be offering credit support, humanitarian support, and grant support. Another thing is there is a section which is called farmers activity. It's elective, let's say, sector. So here you can enter information about your crops that you are planning to sow, or other parameters, other information. My recommendation is that you do fill in this information, because the more complete your profile is, the more information we have about you, the more advantages you will have in the future. It's a very civilized European approach that will be introduced, and I hope that more and more agricultural producers will be using it every year. And my recommendation is that you fill in information in sections that are mandatory and those that are elective. We also talked to international corporations. They are ready to provide support, but they need to know what they are going to support. For example, if you are going to buy the seeds of maize or wheat, so you need to make sure you fill in this information that you are going to sow the maize on the 30 hectares of land. If you fail to do so, you're not going to be liable for that if you change your mind and sow something else. But this information is important for us and for other organizations to have an objective, big picture, what exactly you need money for, be it grant money, credit money, or other type of assistance. How are you going to update this register, and what changes can we anticipate in the future? In the future, in the short-term future, we expect a big number of support programs. Some of them will be non-typical because our agricultural producers normally got support post factum as a compensation for something. Here the approach will be different because the first programs will be grant programs. What had already been introduced by the government a month ago, so this is the grant support to sow vegetables in the greenhouses with the DIA support. Something similar will be included in this State Agrarian Register. So the farmers will not get their compensation post factum, but before the campaign. It will be advance payment. Speaking of the State Agrarian Register development and updates, as I already said, we are going to involve banking institutions, financial, fiscal institutions, so that banks have an opportunity to talk directly to farmers and agricultural producers through this State Agrarian Register. When the bank sees the profile of the farmer, agricultural producer from the official sources, so they can take faster, more positive decision if we compare the situation when the farmer just approaches the bank and starts collecting all the papers needed. So we see that this is more time efficient, less time consuming, and the positive decision will be much faster by the bank with the help of the State Agrarian Register. Another plan is to introduce a broader functionality that will register and keep track of the land resources. We will also plan to do satellite monitoring of our lands, and also a broader functionality about the soil analysis, the soil that the farmer owns in his land. So this is a basic instrument, a foundation, but we are going to expand it, and it will help get an objective, big picture about the farmer. All microservices that will be introduced, these are the tools that will help create conditions so that the farmers can develop their farm, their household, their business. The government needs to provide effective instruments. Everybody is using satellite monitoring. Everybody is talking to banks these days. But it's done either through private companies who have different information, sometimes with discrepancies, or sometimes we are using open source resources. But our idea is that we have to have state resources with official information that you can use to make decisions. Thank you very much. Our guest was Denis Bashlyk, Deputy Minister of Agrarian Policy and Food of Ukraine. At 1 p.m. we are going to talk to the families of the